All right, let's get into our first discussion now. Senate President Bukola Saraki has raised an alarm over an alleged plot by the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, to implicate him in the sponsorship of some self-confessed killers arrested in Ilorin, Kwara State. And
Saraki informed his colleagues that some arrested cultists who had confessed to killing many people had been ordered by the police to implicate him and his protege, Kwara State Governor Abdul Fattah Ahmed, and that they have been moved to Abuja for the sinister plot.
Now, in the meantime, the Inspector General of Police has reacted to the accusation leveled against him by the Senate President. The police boss, through the force spokesman, Jimoh Moshood, confirmed the transfer of suspects linked to a string of killings in Kwara State to Abuja, but said it was not because of the Senate President.
All right, Chris Wandu, of course, is still very much here with us in the studio. Thanks for remaining.
Thank you very much.
So what do you make of this allegations or revelations, more or less, from the Senate President that there are plans to rope him in to some, or link him with some cultists on the part of the IG?
Probably the Senate President was just trying to beat the gun to a larger extent, as far as I'm concerned. Probably because of what has been having change of reactions in the past few weeks between the police authorities and the Senate as a body, and some senators as individuals. Don't forget that Senator Dino Melaye is still battling with the police, with his allegations. Just as that, we are getting out of that. Senator Sani was also accused of being behind some issues and problem and killing or whatever in Kaduna State. He was invited. He actually
appeared
before them and was granted bail. So probably the Senate President felt that it is his turn, and so he needs to cry out. But personally, I think that for whatever reason, the police has the right to investigate any crime, any type of crime, irrespective of whoever is involved and the rest of them. If there are allegations made by the suspect, then it's just for them to prove it, okay? Proving that also means that they have to give reasons where, how, all this, and who sent them. If there are evidence of complicity on the part of any individual, irrespective of high or low the person is, that should be brought before. So, for now, I still leave it at the realm of just speculation, just for me.
Now, but the issue there is the alleged cultists. They have made a statement in Ilorin already. It's written down, it's recorded, they have the record of the confessions they made. Transferring them to Abuja, when they make another kind of confession, as the case may be,
will it be the same thing that
it certainly is from what the Senate President is saying? It's possible it's certainly not going to be the same.
Or something,
But in all of this, if the Senate President certainly has nothing to do with it, why should he be bothered whether anybody is accusing him of anything, anybody is calling his name, if he knows there's nothing involved?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if the Senate President has nothing to hide, I don't see any reason for him to be worried about. Senate President is not just any other person. He's the #3 man in the country. So he's way up there. The only angle also I'm looking at it from also is that not only the Senate President now, but the Governor of Kwara State.
Yes.
Okay. So if the Governor is coming to the fray, then he's taking another dimension, as well as a different dimension.
And according to the Senate President Saraki, it was the Governor of Kwara State, Ahmed, who called him the night before he made this revelations at the Senate.
That's what I'm saying.
That both of them have been linked to this. But really, is this not, like we've already said, is this not even preemptive? Well, the IG has said it doesn't matter how highly placed anyone is. Nobody should try to, stand in the way of this investigation. We're going to do all that is required to be done to get to the bottom of this. But does this idea of transferring suspects, whether in this case or in any other case, from, where the alleged crimes took place to another place. I mean, should that be happening in the first place?
At times, the security operatives use that to be able to nip certain things in the bud because they feel that if left localized, that there could be some kind of interventions and, that kind stop investigations and that kind of reason. Don't forget, this is not the first time. Remember, as far back as during the Bola Ige murder case, Frayu and the rest of them were moved from Ibadan, and the rest of them we had to move to Abuja, and the rest of them. There has also been so many other high-profile cases and the rest of them. In fact, at the time, Evans case, remember when Evans was
the kidnapper?
At the point, it was alleged kidnapper. It was said that he was going to be moved to Abuja also for investigation and the rest of them. But what my personal opinion on this is that if they have already written their statement and they make confessions, I believe the Commissioner of Police should, except he was the one that recommended, should have been allowed to see this through. Because I was watching one of the I think the Attorney General of Kwara State or thereabouts speaking last night, and he was saying that in the past, we have prosecuted so many of these people. In fact, some of them have been sentenced to death by Kwara State High Court here in Ilorin. So I see no reason why this one should. These guys have confessed, according to them, they confessed to have killed about 11 people already. Okay, but the only slack there is that probably because they mentioned some names of highly placed individuals within Kwara State government or whatever and the rest of them, the Inspector General of Police just felt that, no, we need to move them. Don't forget, there's a possibility that the way things happen here, you could be sure that before tomorrow, some of these guys could just die.
Well, we have
in custody. That instances where they've died in custody. They just said, oh, they're trying to escape, or they kill themselves.
Exactly.
And so
that's the interference you were talking about.
That's the interference I'm talking about, and the rest of them. But at the end of it all, whatever the investigation from the office of the IGP and the rest of them, they should be returned back to Kwara State to face the music.
Some analysts were talking with yesterday about this. Yesterday in the evening, were saying that this is a fallout. It's a political game between, the face-off between the IG of police and the National Assembly. Yeah. This is a continuation of the fallout. So how can we link that anyway? Yeah,
the police have not come out clean on their own of recent. In fact, it's becoming worrisome. And my problem is that, and institution, we've been trying to build, what we are doing, people are no longer building institutions. They're building meat around individuals. And if the IG continue to be on the front burner every time for the negative reason, it's trickled down the whole police force. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And that is what they don't know. And that is what the PR department of the Nigerian police is not even doing. They don't know that. For everything.
Conversely, you could say the same thing too about the National Assembly. Yeah. Saraki has actually come out, the Senate President, that look, this goings on, these events are a threat to Nigeria's democracy. And you begin to wonder how vulnerable, how vulnerable is Nigeria's democracy? How fragile is it?
It is fragile because, let's take the Senate for example. All of us cannot be in the Senate. All of us cannot be in the House of Representatives. Those are our elected representatives.
So they are us.
They are us.
They are a reflection
it's a reflection of Nigeria. So I don't take that. I won't take that away from. They are a reflection of. They decide we elected them to go and represent. 109 of them go to the Senate and represent us. That is Nigeria. Yeah. 360 members of House of Representatives go and represent us. That is Nigeria. That is 100. Instead of 190 million of us going to Abuja and sitting at the Halo Chamber, we say, go and speak for us. It's like your secondary school days, the class prefect kind of thing and the rest of them. We used to have a class prefect. You remember? Oh, we had our class prefect. When there's going to be meeting of prefect, our class prefect will go and represent us. So whatever they say, we'll come back.
After consulting with us.
I remember also when they say, oh, those that speak vernacular or whatever.
Write their names. And then everyone you don't like, you begged him something and he didn't give you.
That is why I'm going to,
so that is then the time for bargaining starts.
You understand? So that is a reflection. So that happens even in a wider, there's always been instances that the partisanship will come into play. There will also be instances that even the Senate or House of Representatives. My only problem so far is that we're having more problem or challenges of negativity coming from the Senate rather than the House of. It used to be the House of Representatives in the past. It has always been, the lower chamber has always been seen as the chaotic and trouble spots and the rest of them.
Because of mature.
That is what I'm saying. Because of their number.
Of the leadership?
I think it has to do with leadership, probably. To a large extent, I think. It has to do with leadership. I think Dogara has been able to learn how to be able to manage the issues relating with the House of Representatives. And don't forget, Dogara seems to be much, much nearer, closer to Aso Rock. That in itself is, do you understand what I'm, that in itself is, but unlike the Senate President, the Senate President are trying to assert himself and also assert the Senate as an independent, quote unquote, organ which will be left to do whatever they want to do and the rest of it. Not forgetting also the circumstances leading to his being elected or selected or whatever. That is the same thing. That is the same thing with Dogara. Don't forget it was Bajabi Ahmed that was supposed to be the Speaker of the House of Reps, but he has been able to manage that. So the shift, they've shifted the focus from the House of Representatives to the Senate, and that in itself
is have more controversial issues.
Controversies upon controversies and from the Senate. That is the problem now.
But in the long run, because for every political activity that takes place, it is a precedence for something that is to come.
Yes.
Now, going forward, we know we're approaching is an election year, as the case may be. What impact is this having on young people who are going into politics, young people who are aspiring, and even looking at, like she was talking about, our democracy that we're supposed to be spending time to build? Because each of this activity, it is either putting an extra block on the building of our democracy or removing an extra block from the building already.
Yes, it's a big challenge because ordinarily, some of us have been advocating that there's a young, what's it now? Not too young to run campaign. And then when you look at the leader, if you look at the present crop of leadership across the states and even in the National Assembly, I would say to a large extent we have a lot of young people, starting from Kogi State governor to most of the states. Average age of most of the governors is just between 50 and a little bit towards 60, about 50, 40 to about 55, 60. So we have a relatively young leadership spectrum for now. Then we've also go to the National Assembly to a large extent, yes. Apart from the former governors, and look at even at the senators, Akpabio, name them, Enyinaya Baribe, Ben Bruce, and the rest of them. These are relatively young, quote and unquote. And Dilomela, yes, I say related. So I think there is a shift to a large extent in terms of age and in terms of number. But the question is, are they giving?
Is it a good advert?
That is what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And speaking of that, let me even quickly put this in. Unfortunately, the young people actually are the core of this. These cultists, these militants that are being used by politicians are the young. They are youth. Many of them have been killed in the line of, carrying out this nefarious